Hey everyone, just a quick heads up that Connection Over Perfection is taking a pause for a hot minute, and I'll be back in November. I'm switching things up just slightly, and I'm going to be in the hot seat myself. We'll have some incredible coaches joining us, and you'll get a real look into their methods as they work with me. It's a really good chance to see which styles might resonate with you. I'm looking forward to jumping back in and exploring these new paths with you guys. I'll see you in November.
Okay, amazing souls. Welcome back to Connection Over Perfection. Have you lost someone, felt so alone and disconnected from everything, and now you're eager to find yourself again, maybe even for the first time ever? In this episode, we'll explore the path to healing and transformation with Neal Fisher, who shares his journey of overcoming internal struggles and rebuilding himself from the inside out. Neal's journey began with a personal transformation, overcoming loss, financial hardship, and a body that had just fallen apart. Through perseverance, he's overcome these challenges, aligning his body and his mind to become his true self, or as he calls it, unified man. Today, Neal's mission is to help others do the very same thing. He guides men and women, don't worry, to cultivate a combination of thinking and doing. Neal, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Amber. And yes, I've definitely felt lost before in my life. I've felt lost for a long time. And even in fact, even at this point in my life, I'm feeling a little bit lost. And I used to be afraid of that. I used to reject, like, I need to have control. I need to know everything that's going on. No, I don't need to know everything that's going on. I just need to just keep putting one foot in front of the other because I realized
I feel a little called out already.
it's like this because I have red blood and you have red blood. So whatever I feel, you feel it as well. And all I feel within myself is that it's okay to feel lost because that's where you find yourself. That's where you actually find deeper truth. And what I found within me is I didn't actually lose anything. What it was is I'm just letting go of everything that is false that no longer serves me. So as uncomfortable and scary as it can be, it's the place that you want to be, and it's the place that I need to be, all of us.
Boom, done. No, I'm just kidding. That was amazing. Thank you. I needed that. First of all, thank you for that vulnerability because I think it takes so much power and strength to say, I'm feeling lost and that's okay. Like that's a foreign concept. So how the fuck did you get here?
Well, I'll wrap up what you just said then. And the reason why why I struggled for so long in my life is because I tried to do everything in solitude. I can do this. I thought I could do it by myself. Idiot. Neil's brain thinks he can do it by himself, but his heart knows that he needs help. Right? So it's like it's not even being vulnerable. I just see it as being as true strength because the ego gains ultimate control by ultimately letting go. Whenever I stop identifying with all these false illusions of what I should be doing and how I should be behaving and how I should be perceived as a strong man, I become stronger. I become way stronger and a much better leader for the people around me because I know what they're going through and they can go, holy shit, this guy understands me because I understand myself. Again, we've all got red blood. So what I feel, you feel, Amber. Simple as that. So.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I want for people to understand how you got here.
Yeah, well, I got here like this. Well, first and foremost, I was born, so that was a blessing. And for me, as quickly as I can, is that I didn't realize it at the time, but I was so lucky. And that's why I have and do what I do now is because I was blessed. I had a family. I had a father that loved me. I had a mother that loved me. I had a brother that loved me. And I loved everyone. We were so lucky to grow up in the country, in beautiful rainforests, creeks, islands, coral reefs, camping, fishing, like all these beautiful things just playing around, like no city, no pollution, no crime, no assholes, we were so lucky, so fortunate. And so all the way through
That's amazing.
oh, it is amazing. It's so amazing.
Working to go there.
Oh man, and I wish it for everybody, right? And it didn't happen by accident. My parents did that on purpose. They knew what they were doing, right? Because they had crappy childhoods, so they were able to break that cycle, right? I mean, don't worry, they weren't perfect, but they're pretty damn good. So anyway,
Well, I
though,
heard you talk about in one episode that your dad was an amazing dad, a
oh,
shitty husband, but a great dad.
oh, shittest husband, but the best dad, even to this day. So
Oh, it's
it
amazing.
all seemed perfect, right? It all seemed perfect, but then the irony was that then high school happens, right? But then even through my perfect childhood, there was something within me. There was a secret, there was a shame, and it wasn't from anybody that I loved, and it wasn't from anyone in my family, but I experienced some dark things that happened to me, things along the lines of sexual abuse, right? So if anyone is going through that, I know what it's like. I know the shame, I know the guilt, I know the confusion. It's absolutely crushing because shame is the lowest energetic state. It is the lowest frequency. So even though I had this perfect, beautiful childhood, I had this secret and I had this shame that was the undercurrent behind everything, right? Nobody escapes from their adolescence or their childhood unscathed. So you chuck on top of that the high school, and then, you know, what I mean, you can relate, Amber. We all go through high school, and then that's when the expansive, beautiful energy we had as children begins to constrict. We turn inward and we start to close off. I closed off, and that's where I myself began the lovely journey of drugs, the lovely journey of fear and doubt and insecurity and suicidal depression. Wow. It's school is the worst thing, especially high school is the worst thing for children by far. It's if you could take that out, if you could take high school out and actually get kids around proper role models, proper spiritual initiators.
That's why I homeschool.
Oh, fucking good on you. You're a legend. Absolutely. And I'll be doing the same when I have children. So anyway, that all happened. And then I broke out of it. And then I went into the world with my ambition, with my lovely girlfriend that I'd met. You know, we were high school sweethearts. And then things were on the rise. Things were going good. I was making great money out of school. I bought my own house. I built myself up. I started trying business things, self development, seminars, the whole show. But the problem was, I still had these shadows. I still had these addictions that were holding me back, that I wasn't actually shining light on, that I wasn't actually addressing. So it didn't matter how much I strived in the physical world, my internal world, my actual spirit still had these demons, these drags, these heavy weights, these burdens to carry. And that reflected because I was still eating my feelings with gluttony. Gluttony is my biggest sin, was my biggest sin. Smoking all these drugs, you know, all this bullshit, just being lazy. And that's why it all imploded. That's why everything self-destructed in my early 20s, the bankruptcy, the separation from the only girl I'd ever been with, and we'd been together for almost a decade. I'd never been with another girl, so that was absolutely devastating. And to top it off, I knew that it was all my fault. I knew that it was my narcissism, it was my immature grandiosity, it was my lust for power, it was just my self-absorption. It was all me. I had to face myself in every aspect. And that's when it was just the depths of despair. And if you're in that depths of despair, I understand what it's like. It's fucked. But the beautiful thing is that in that despair, that's when you are created. That's when everything's unsheathed. And I found myself because I wasn't afraid to ask for help. And I was so fortunate to have my father who lived around the corner, who, like any person, we all go through a phase with our parents, right? We end up, we reject them, we hate them, we think we're repressing them. It comes full circle. You realize that fuck, I was just this dumbass kid. I was this dumbass kid, right? I mean, I'm sure you can relate to that.
100%. 100%. And now I'm like, oh, okay. I get it, mom. I get it. I fully understand.
Yeah, because I've been there, right?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank you for being so vulnerable because I know that so many of my listeners are experiencing or have experienced all of the things that you touched on. And so I think it's so important that on this journey, this life, this adventure, whatever you want to call it, that we talk about these things so that we don't feel alone. And it can feel so lonely when you're there and in it. So hearing somebody else say, "Hey, I was there, I understand, and I'm here, to walk with you," that's huge.
Yeah, it's like I said at the start, I have only ever struggled when I put myself in solitude. And why is that? It's because it goes against our natural programming, coding, physiology as a human being. We aren't supposed to be alone. We're not supposed to be this lone wolf or any of that rubbish. That's just a fallacy of media. That's just an insidious trick to get myself and others self-consumed in our own thoughts. And it's just a trick. It is just a trick. We're social emotional creatures. We're supposed to be together. All of the struggles that I go through, that I've ever gone through in my life, that you've gone through, that everybody has gone through, they're all modern diseases. They're all modern byproducts of an artificial environment and an artificial frame of reference, a perspective. It's all fake. It's all artificial. Why do we feel like imposters? Why do I doubt myself? Why do I have fear? It's because everything that I thought was true is false. Every single one of it. Every single little bit of it is false, and it's fed to us, and the world did it to us, but then ultimately we are the ones that do it to ourselves.
Indeed, we just get a lot of help. So I mean, I agree with all of that. I truly believe to my core that we're created for connection,
Oh,
connection to ourselves and connection to others. Yeah, definitely. And that is really my mission in being a human being this time around,
this time
is
around,
helping people learn how to
I love
connect.
that. And that's the thing, Amber. Connection is the essence, because why? Because everything is connected. Want the answers?
Everything
You
is
want the answers
connected.
to life? Look at life itself. Everything on this entire planet, every life form, everything's interconnected. And the same goes for us. We're not separate from the environment. We're not separate from anything. And here's the crux of the story, right? I went through all that desolation talking about connection. And then it was a long process, 10, 12, 13 years of hard physical labor, shit that I didn't want to do, but I had to do to build myself up, pay off all of my debt, build back my body, gain my self-respect, gain my ability as a fucking strong man to take full leadership and command of my life. Now that I've done that, I've earned the right to not tell people what to do, but show them how it's done, show people how to do. And here's the most interesting thing, right? I'd made it. 12 years later, I'd made it. I'd made some money, right? I wasn't rich, but I'd made money where I could do whatever I wanted, right? I had a nice house. I had a girlfriend, a relationship. She loved me and I loved her. I had freedom now. I had all the time in the world. I'd made it. And guess what? I was more miserable than I was the first time around. I was more suicidally depressed than I was the first time around, because I was confused, because I was lost. Well, now what? I'd made it. This is everything I'd worked for the last 12 years, and it's empty. It's empty. You know what that was? It's because I hadn't completed the journey. I thought me becoming some pinnacle, I thought that was the journey. I thought it was all about me. I'd gone round the mountain. I'd gone up to the top of the mountain, and I'd made it. And all I was doing was sitting on top of the mountain, just reveling in my own glory. That's why it was empty.
So now you have to go back down the mountain and help people up.
That's correct. And that is the greatest pain any of us will ever experience, is sitting on top of the mountain. The completion of the journey is coming back down and showing other people how they can get up there.
Yeah, it's very lonely on the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I love about what you said too is that I think that for me, coming back down the mountain is very humbling.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we need that so that we don't fuck up more. I mean, it could turn into this whole other thing. It can turn into this whole other situation where it's more I guess this would be a good intersection into the ego, where you said that vulnerability is really just equivalent to the ego winning because it releases
Yeah, it's like
the stronghold. Can you?
I can tell you all about it. The ego,
I would love to hear.
yeah, I'll tell you all about it, right? The ego wants power and control. Now, that's not a bad thing. We've been led to believe by the overlords that have power and control over us, they make us believe that power and control is bad. And then it's such an insidious trick because then we see, oh, I have an ego and I want these things. It's natural. I'll say it again. You want the answers to life? I found the answers to life by looking at life itself. What does every single organism, every single life form have in common? They all grow as big and as strong and as powerful and as influential and as prolific as they possibly can. The nature of life is growth. It's becoming powerful. That's what we're supposed to do, us as human beings, individually and as a species. The only time it goes pear-shaped is when I become consumed by my power, when I have immature character traits and dispositions that I haven't addressed within myself. I have pains and hurts and angst within myself that I project onto the world. That's the only time it's bad. I don't know, not bad, but it's harmful and degrading to the planet and ourselves. Anybody who does anything bad and causes pain are in pain. And how do I know that? Because anytime I've caused pain, it's because I'm in pain. So the ego, full circle, wants power and control. When you're on top of that mountain, you realize that you are just a vessel. Now, you're not just a vessel, but you're a sacred vessel because it's not you. It's not me. It is the force flowing through us. It is the universal animating source. It is God. Whatever label, whatever noun you want to put on it, it doesn't matter. It's all the same fucking thing. I am just a vessel where that energy is flowing through me. So when I finally let go of my ego, I actually gain exactly what it wants, which is ultimate power, which is the power of God.
That's powerful. Thank you. And so you were talking about power too. And I think what are your thoughts on this is that our examples of power are super shitty. Like people in power, they abuse that, right? They take it to a harmful level and it is about themselves and not about anybody else, right? And so in talking about being on the mountain but coming back down and that power, for me, I see that as reciprocity. It's like if we're not giving and receiving, right, we don't have that energy flow. And so I think that's huge in when we talk about power and what the example of maybe, for lack of better terms, healthy power would look like if there's a reciprocity. What do you think about that?
100%. Healthy power is personal power. All those assholes that abuse their power, they're just sitting on top of the mountain. It's just all about them. Me, me, me. Look at me. Look, it's just all about them. It's self-consumption. It's an identity. They're consumed with the rational world. They're consumed with the mind. How do I know? Because I've been there. It was all about me. When I actually relax and let go, I realized that it wasn't me. I realized that everything is alive and that karma is a real thing. And there's always a price to pay for everything that we do. We all have a conscience. Anytime I fuck up, anytime I do the wrong thing, I get punished. I feel it in my chest, I feel it in my solar plexus, and I feel it in my consciousness. I mean, we all have a conscience. Every single one of us, even those people in power, or even just some robber on the street, some asshole that at work. Again, it's because they're in pain. They're projecting their shadow issues within that they haven't addressed. They're projecting that out onto the world. It's simple as that. And again, when you get to the top of the mountain, you realize it wasn't even me. It wasn't all of my strengths, all of my gifts. They're blessings that were given to me. I didn't make any of this happen. All I did was see what I was doing. That's all I did was see what I was doing and then made the decision to do something better.
That's huge. And so I want to go back. You were talking about, that pain and people in power. And you also talked about that yourself and how you maybe had these narcissistic traits and you were making it all about you. Do you find that hurt people because they're trying to protect those secrets, trying to protect people from getting close to that? And it's really just a form of a thick self-protection mode for
No, of course
for
it
most
is.
people?
Yeah, of course it is. It's because it's an image. It's an image of like what I would do. I wouldn't let people in, right? I would always think that I need to be perceived as a certain person. And because my mind was consumed by media and fictional stories and snippets of men that I idolized that appeared to me as these almost godlike beings, right? When you actually spend a bit of time around high performance people, high level people, even the greatest people, you realize they don't have anything that you don't have. We're so similar, so similar. The only degree of difference is a level of self awareness. That's all that it is, self awareness. And again, I'd made it. I'd made it, and I felt worse than before. So, what really matters? I'll tell you what really matters is your life and how engaged in it you are. I mean, think of your life, Amber. I'm sure you can blink your eyes and go, holy shit, I was 20 like 5 seconds ago, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
people when
More
that
than 5 seconds, but we're good.
you know what I mean though, right? People say, oh,
Yeah.
my dad, my mum say it to me. They go, wow, my life, they're in their 70s now. They're like, fuck, it just passed in an instant. Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
You got any idea why that is?
Because we're not being present?
That's right. Because we missed it. Same with my life.
Yeah.
I can go, fuck. It's because I wasn't there for it. I wasn't there for it. And here's the most important thing for people to understand that I understand, that I realized even only in the last week, is that even when you've completed your life's purpose, you've attained absolute awakening, when you've attained the highest spiritual presence and being, there's no reward. You don't get anything out of it. You don't get anything. And why do you think that is? Why do you think you don't get anything?
Well, because the reward is being present.
I'll tell you why you don't get
I
any.
don't
I'll
know.
tell you why you don't get anything because you already have it.
You already have it.
There's nothing to gain because you already have it. And I realized this that once I found that I already have everything because I am the universe and the universe is me, I realized that nobody, nothing, no circumstance, nothing can ever take it away from me. Nothing can take it away from me because nobody gave it to me. I gave it to myself.
Yeah, that's huge because I think that I don't know, for me and probably for a lot of our listeners, I don't know about for you, but when we started this journey, it was like, okay, we hit the ground running and like we just wanted to get there. We wanted to heal all the things. We wanted to get on the other side of the pain. And I think that it's such a good reminder. And I love what you're talking about, which it just is not talked about a lot, I think, in like, especially the spiritual community, is that there is no end product. First of all, we're not running to something because, like you said, it is already here. And that also that searching for. This is something that I struggle with. I am a key searcher. Okay. I played Zelda growing up. I want to
Fuck
find all the
yeah.
fucking keys.
Hell yeah, baby.
All the fucking keys, right? So I am a
Yeah.
searcher. I search and I dig and it's probably also a trauma response, but we're not going to talk about that. But
Oh, it's irrelevant. You're gonna love this. We're always seeking, right? We're always looking. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Why do you think you'll never find it? Because it's not out there. It's not in front of your eyes. It's behind your eyes. That's why people can't see it. It's not out there. It's fucking right behind your eyes. And you're going to love this, right? You're going to love this. Here's Neal, right? Here's painful Neal. Here's gluttonous Neal. Here's suicidally depressed, sexually abused Neal. Here is ultimate presence, ultimate God source Neal, ultimate connection Neal, peaceful Neal, right? Everybody, Neal wants to get from here to here. Now, there's nothing stopping that. I can go here in an absolute instance. The reason why it's a struggle, the reason why it takes me a set amount of time, the reason why I believe it's a journey to get from here to here is because there's a middle identity. And the middle identity is Neal trying to fix himself.
Just a quick interruption.
Yo, word up, this is Ethan from the Nonchalant Perfectionist podcast. I'm so glad you tuned in here, man. Hold on, just real quick. Did you know that this podcast, as well as my own, are part of a much larger world called the Podcast Connection Network? Yeah, we have some pretty amazing shows hosted by even more amazing souls. And look, we're just waiting to be discovered. You curious? Yeah, I know you are. Head over to the link in the description below. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Okay, now back to the show.
There's nothing to fix, Amber. There's nothing to fix. And I'll tell you why. Because us, all we are, ultimately, is ultimate awareness, ultimate attention, universal presence. Universal presence, God source presence, is the absolute. It's infinite. It's everything. It's ultimate power. There's nothing to improve upon ultimate power. You can't. God is God. The universe is the universe. There's nothing to add for it. It is absolute. So if that's what we are, universal awareness, the mind is just subject matter. That is just an identity. That is just a bunch of thoughts that we get wrapped up in, we get hallucinated in, we get lost in. And I was lost in that for years, trying to fix myself. I need to get better at this, and I need to be more like this. That was just me placing my attention in the rational world, in the subject matter of my mind. I am not my mind. I am the awareness behind my mind. That's why there's nothing to fix.
Okay, so with that, how would you say, okay, so for me and what I'm learning and what clinically, personally, everything, right, is that, yes, my purpose is to love on people and love on myself and not fix, right? I think that that's a huge thing that society doesn't focus on. So I 100% agree with that. So in like digestible terms, do you think that that would look like, so say me, right? Traumatized Amber, hurt Amber.
Yep.
That instead of trying to fix her, just validate her.
Yeah. Just let it be seen. Let it be seen for what it is.
And honor it. And I think
honor it.
I think that that's the part that's missing.
Yeah.
That so many, like you said, this is why I'm so big on like, okay, we're not here to fix, we're here to love.
Absolutely.
On that thing. We're here to honor it.
Absolutely. That's it.
I wanted to see if that was correlated.
Oh, that's it,
with
because
you.
it's all therapy, all fixing, all healing, all it's going to do. And I know this because all it did was make me feel a little bit better about my past. That's all it did. It made me accept things, right? It just made me go, well, that happened and that's okay. But it still formed a part of my identity. It was still something that I held on to, right? It's just an identity.
But do you think that that played a part in the relaxing and letting go portion?
Oh, absolutely.
Don't you feel like that's a first step?
All right, it's like this. The path to awakening is paved with pain. Awakening is realized through self-mastery. Therefore, self-mastery is pain. So it's all necessary. I never changed. I never made my full commitment to myself and higher source until I'd had enough pain. That's why I was a gluttonous pig. That's why I was a drinker. That's why I was self-absorbed, because all I was doing was trying to numb a pain, an identity, a past, a thought subject matter. When I realized that it doesn't exist, it's just a thought. Think of it like this, Amber. If you had amnesia right now, if you completely lost your entire memory, you would still exist. You exist prior to thought and after thought. You are ever present.
So what are your thoughts then on like the body keeps the score?
Yeah, 100%. That is the side effect of consciousness. The body is a projection of consciousness, right? So sure, things are stored. I understand like trauma, neurotic holding patterns, all of these things that constrict our physiology. Yes. Yes, that is the effect, right? But it's the effect of consciousness. The consciousness is the source, and this consciousness is pure attention. Whatever we place our attention on becomes alive. So if I keep my attention on this trauma, I keep my attention on all these negative things or situations, because it's never the situation or the experience, it's the thoughts about the experience. It's my internal dialogue. It's the thoughts that I'm not seeing, the conclusions, and that's creating a belief, which is then creating this twisted and torn and traumatized body that has all this trapped, stored emotion. Like, I get that 100%. But it doesn't matter what work we do on the body. If we're still identified with somebody trying to fix themselves, you'll never, ever fully release it. So yes, go and get massage, breath work, all these beautiful things. But the ultimate source of it all is that we're placing our attention outside of this present moment. And we're placing our attention on a past that no longer exists. If you had amnesia right now, Amber's trauma doesn't exist anymore. If you had amnesia,
So do you think that your body would respond to that?
100% it would.
Like it's a rabbit hole I haven't gone down. So like if you've had trauma and you had amnesia, then your body may not have the same effects?
Well, you won't be doing it to yourself anymore. You won't be doing it to yourself because you won't have this identity, right? If I forget about everything that happened to me, I wouldn't have that identity, so it wouldn't be affecting me anymore. It'd be irrelevant because it is irrelevant because it's not right now. It's not now.
Well, because it's a fear that's not a present fear, correct?
Well, it's just
So could you say that in a like
well, I can say it like this. Doesn't exist. When has there ever been a time that isn't now? When has there ever been a time that isn't right now in deep peace?
right, but for the people who are in the pain, like it's easy to say
Oh yeah.
release and let go. But when you're sitting in it and you don't want to get out of bed and you don't want to wake up for work tomorrow, you just want to sleep forever
Yep.
and never wake up, what would you say to them and how would you bridge that gap? I mean, I feel like it's a really long journey. I'm still learning and working towards that as well to be present. Like logically, I know that it's all conscious, right? But making that happen in your everyday of being present and not allowing past things to come up, that's a whole different ballgame.
No, it's a part of the process, right? And I'll summarize it as this. It's still just subject matter. It's still just thought. Neil, what are your thoughts about that? Neil, what do you think about this? Neil, what about people that have all these thoughts? That's just more thought. That's just more of the problem because it's not conscious awareness. Again, I am not my thoughts. All of the things that I used to believe about myself, all of the convictions I had and the beliefs about the world, they've changed. I used to be the guy that believed technology will transcend human flesh and we'll become these immortal beings, right? I used to believe all this sort of bullshit, right? I used to believe that being a fruitarian and a vegan was the only way, right? I used to believe that. That's as examples. Now, my thoughts have changed. I have now different dispositions because I tried new things, they work for me, and now my beliefs and my thoughts have changed. So I have these strong convictions that I would die for. I would defend to the death. This is who I am. That is not who you are, Neil. Now I have these new convictions, these new beliefs. This is who I am. Well, what's to say that next week or later this afternoon, I'm not going to have an awakening that therefore makes these present beliefs no longer relevant? Our thoughts and our convictions and who we think we are, our identity, is forever changing. It is forever changing. However, the pure conscious awareness that transcends thought always remains. So how can we take our thoughts seriously if they're always changing?
Well, and I think this releases some pressure,
Yeah,
right?
relax.
Like
Relax,
the
everybody.
perfection.
That's the biggest point I can say, everybody. Relax. It's okay. You're
Because
beautiful.
tomorrow you might not agree with anything you hear on here.
That's right. You're allowed to, because guess what? I was there. You told me this. If you told me this 10 years ago, I'd tell you to shove it up your ass. Simple as that. I would tell you, fuck off, idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, guess what? I kind of do. So it's a process too. You can make the decision in this moment to see the thoughts. But from there, you do need a structure. Absolutely. So what am I going to do about this, Neil? Well, you're going to take control back. You're going to stop. When I stopped blaming my past, when I stopped putting all of my attention on my past and put my attention onto now and what I can actually do, that's when it started to change. Through a simple process of disciplines, of taking command and self-respect. The biggest self-love we can give for ourselves is self-mastery. By committing to a path of elevation, committing to a regime of looking after our bodies, looking after our minds, guarding our time, getting back to the basics. It's like this, Amber. It's like this. Frequency equals form. Frequency equals form. Self-mastery is three things. It's mastery of attention. Whatever I focus on becomes alive. The entire universe is alive. This shirt is alive. This flag is alive. That headset you're wearing, everything's alive, is because it's all energy. It's all pure conscious energy. So whatever I place my attention on, I'm feeding conscious energy. It becomes alive. Number two, what I'm feeling is what I'm creating. If I'm feeling like a victim, if I'm feeling devastated within, if I'm feeling powerful, whatever it is, I'm going to create more of that in my life. Feelings are your frequencies. That's the energy that is being projected out into the world. And the biggest thing is that the world is a mirror. It just reflects back, and it reflects back instantly. And the third thing is just relax. It's okay. If you are pure 100% God source attention, you're just presence. Well, what's there to stress about? You don't have to make anything happen. You don't have to improve anything. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. And that's what that presence is. That's what that attention is. There's nothing more beautiful than what you already are. I just missed it my whole life. I missed it for 30 fucking years because I was attached to the physical world. I was attached to all this horse shit that people fed me, and then all this horse shit that I fed myself. It's a letting go process. And yes, the process is painful. It is painful. But that's the price of growth. That's the price you have to pay. Because I'll tell you right now, there's nothing more painful than not going down that path. It was way more painful being an alcoholic. It was way more painful being a drug addict. It was way more painful watching all this fucked up pornography. It was way more painful anesthetizing myself with food and substances every single day just to sort of numb the pain. It's way more painful getting to the end of your life and realizing I wasted it. So the price is pain, but we're already paying a price, and it's a damn high one.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely hits home. For me, it was, the process is painful, but like you said, when you can finally breathe, that's for me what it felt like. I could breathe for the first time, like really breathe.
Yeah.
And I could look in the mirror and feel connected to the person I was looking in the mirror to. I always felt disconnected. And there's something so peaceful about that. So while this journey is a struggle and it is painful, the pain doesn't go away. That doesn't mean that I don't struggle. That doesn't mean that life still doesn't happen, that we still don't, have to come back to these bases, right? Like for me, I do. I have to come back down off the mountain and I have to like start over. Am I meditating? Am I journaling? Am I eating healthily? Right? Like, am I moving my body?
Am I breathing?
Am I breathing? I need to breathe. Exactly.
Well, I'll summarize it like this, Samba. I'll tell you a story of what this all means, right? So in that second time, when I was in that ultimate pain on top of the mountain, I realized I had to let go of everything. I had to leave the relationship I was in. I had to sell the house. I had to let go of the group of friends that I'd identified with. I had to leave behind my comfortable little life in my hometown I'd been in. I'd had to take the next step because I realized the source of my pain was the guidance. Every single one of us are being guided. Every life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. And I realized that I had to leave. So as painful as it was, bye-bye, honey, bye-bye, friends, bye-bye, world. I had to leave. And I didn't know, completely unknown. I was terrified because I'd narcissistically held on to everything my whole fucking life. So here's what happened, right? I thought I'll pack everything into my ute and I'll just drive into the desert and I'll go on some voyage, right? Deep down in my soul, I knew that was still holding on to the past because I was still running away. I knew I had to reduce everything down to just my body, my bag, and my bank account. That was it, and I had to leave. That's what I knew subconsciously. But I thought I'll just drive out into the desert for a bit. The day I went to leave, my ute blew up.
The universe is
I
like,
went
not
to
today,
leave.
Neal.
No. And I thought about it and I realized all I was doing, I was still just running away. I need to run towards. So that looked like a painful, bad thing that was happening. No, that was the guidance of the Almighty. So what happened next is I know I need to find a mentor. I need help. I need to find a master. And the most powerful, successful guy I knew was Uncle Paps. And Uncle Paps lived in New Zealand, in the other country. If anybody who doesn't know where that is, Australia, New Zealand. Anyway, I got on the plane from North Queensland, went down to the capital city of the state, and then I was at the airport and I was nervous. I was shitting myself. Like, I'm going to a new country. I'm going to see this guy that I barely know. And I went to get on the plane to leave the country, and immigration said, just hold on a minute here, sir. We just have to check something. I had health powders in my bag, right? They're all white. So I thought, fuck, maybe they think they're drugs. I thought, idiot. They come back and they say, did you order a new passport, sir? I said, yeah, I did. Well, that means this passport is invalid. You ain't getting on the plane, boy. So here I am in this, but just me, in this new city that I'm not even supposed to be in, and I can't go to New Zealand. My big grand plan, my plan, was now falling apart. But here's the thing, the universe had a better plan for me, and it was a way better plan. Thankfully, I thought I shit myself for a quarter of a second. I went, crap, what do I do? But I thought, no, this is the universe. I stayed in a good mood. I realized, well, this is just the way it is. This is my new philosophy. I wanted an adventure. This is what I asked for. And this is what I realized. I always get what I ask for. It's just not going to look the way that I want it. It's going to be delivered the way that I asked for it.
That's huge. That's huge. So one thing I want to touch on is I love what you said. The universe does provide. So be careful what you ask for and be very specific with that.
Yeah.
Learn that too.
It'll give you what you want. It'll give you what you want every day of every week. Just be mindful of how you ask for it.
Exactly. And, expectations and that perfectionism come into play here. I think that's the difference for me between an expectation and a goal. Is an expectation is how I get there. A goal is what I want to feel, where I want to be, or what that looks like or feels like. And so that perfectionism, and I really feel like a lot of us get stuck in that how we get there. And so I think that while it's great to have goals and to be guided, right? To follow those and do those things. That's one thing, because we do need effort on our part. We have to do.
Oh, absolutely.
But
you got to work your fucking ass off.
Right. But also working your ass off in a way that, like you said, you let go and you're guided. So when the universe, when God provides a different way to not freak the fuck out. I mean, you can give yourself 15 minutes to freak out. It's fine. And then
yeah. Go ahead.
No, and then like you said, like maybe this is still part of the plan. Let's just see what happens.
It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. And this is why you can't take your thoughts seriously, because it's rationale and it's always stuck in the past or the future. It's very rarely are our minds in here. And any time that we are here, it's because we're focused through the lens of present awareness, consciousness, right? So here's why the guidance can be so mysterious and so scary, is because it's so much smarter. Deep intuition operates in reality, and reality is only now present experience. So the mind has a goal, has an objective. Yes, do have a vision. You must lock into a vision for your life. You must lock into a vision and you must work for it, but it's how you're doing the work. I used to work from a place of desperation and urgency and all this stuff, trying to make things happen. That energy was what was repelling my vision. The more I pushed, the more life pushed back.
That fear state.
Fear state, fear and doubt. But when you work with relaxed action, it'll take care of itself. And here's why. The mind wants step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Then I get my goal. The universe and divination is so much wiser, because it only ever tells us what we need to do right now. It is connected with everything. It knows what we need to do and how we need to be right now. So when we're being guided, it's hard to follow because we don't know what's coming next. We only know what's coming now. But it's infinitely powerful, so it's only giving you what's relevant now. Once I complete and go in that direction it's pulled me, then it rewards me with the next step. And then I take the next action, and it just goes like that, step by step. Whereas the brain wants point A, point B. Universe just gives you point now, right now. And then once you complete that, you get the next step and the next step. So that's why it can be so mysterious and so difficult and scary to jump into the unknown, because it's unknown. We don't know where it's going to end up. I didn't know where it's going to end up.
Right. We still don't know where it's going to end up.
I don't know where it's going to end up, but I'm doing it every day of every moment because I trust it. Because here's why I trust it, because I've been guided my entire life. When I got to that airport, I knew that so be it. This is how it's going to be.
Well, it's very experiential. You have to experience following that feeling, and then the confirmations. Once you follow, once you experience it, and once you trust that, you will get confirmation after confirmation after confirmation, and it will feel peaceful. It's not going to be easy, but there will be a sense of peace. Would you agree?
Yeah. The source of all of my suffering, the source of all of my pain, the source of all of my hardship comes down to one singular point, and that's resistance. Resistance of this moment, resistance of what's being presented to me. Anytime I don't like how it is, anytime I wish things were another way, that's when I suffer. That's the only time I suffer. When I actually relax and breathe and understand that I'm being guided, how it looks doesn't matter because I know that's the path. I got to that airport. I wasn't going over to see the master. I was stuck in this new city. That's the way it needed to be presented because guess what? Instead of here's my energy, here's my physical circumstance. This happens. I'm stuck at this airport. For a split second, I went, oh crap. No. This is okay. It's going to be that way. Guess what? In a short period of time, the physical world came back around. I got everything that I asked for. I found a beautiful new city, the Gold Coast. I found all these beautiful friends. I found all these beautiful experiences and these people and these elevations and these insights and this awakening because of I didn't resist what was being presented to me. The fact that I made that mistake on my passport was not a mistake. It was beautiful. And I'm so happy I did that because it led to exactly what I was asking for. So that's why we can have grace and that's why we can have compassion for ourselves because not all of your mistakes are mistakes. None of them are. Not single one of them. Because if you allow yourself to just see it for what it is and to just go with what's being presented, that is being presented perfectly. That is what is required for your journey. All the pain that I went through, it was necessary for me. The threshold to self-mastery and awakening, it's pain because that's what allows us to let go of the pain. The pain is what allows us to let go of it.
Yeah. And would you agree that anxiety is really just focusing on the future and depression is focusing on the
Oh,
past?
100%. It's all it is. Fear and doubt, fear and regret. All it is. It doesn't, yes is the short answer. Yes. Yes. And I know because I lived there for decades. I lived in fear and anxiety and doubt. And even to this day, I can sit here right now. And here's one thing for people to understand. I'm not some God, I have to earn my presence every moment of every single day. I have to earn it. Life is subscription. You need to subscribe to your highest and best at life every moment of every day. If I go and eat a bunch of donuts, if I go and drink alcohol, if I sleep in and don't go to the gym this morning, I'm going to literally, by this afternoon, I'm going to be suicidally depressed again. You know why? Because I didn't fucking earn it. That is the price because now that I see and the universe is kind, but it's also it's stern. You know what I mean? It's not all fucking lovey-dovey roses and all this shit. The universe is going to whoop your ass because once I realized it is my personal responsibility because there's fucking people relying on me. There's my family. There's the people I love. There's my students. They're all relying on me. And even the strangers, the people I haven't even met yet. There's people out there whose lives that I'm going to change. And there's people out there that are going to change my life. And it's my responsibility. The universe never gives us anything that we can't handle. It never gives us anything that we don't ask for. I asked for this. I asked for every single bit of it. And so did you. You asked for all of it. Why? Because you're strong enough. You are capable. And this is what you were born to be. And here's the most important thing to remember out of all of this. We're all born pure. Every child. We have that essence. We weren't born from our mother's wombs. We were born before we were born. We were already here because we already were everywhere, everything at all times. We're born expansive and then we constrict. But the beautiful thing is that it never goes away. It never dies. That beautiful, expansive, loving energy within that just wants to grow and play on this beautiful planet, it never dies. It can't die. Nothing ever dies because it's energy, and energy never evaporates. Energy never is destroyed. It's always here. So there's always hope. There's always the fact that it's always there. You can never lose it. So it's never too late. It's just gone dormant. That's all that it is. It's just gone dormant, but you can always get it back. It's always there, and that's your real self. That's what I want. That's what you want. That's what every single human being that's ever existed and ever will exist. All we want is we just want to be our true selves.
100%. So, Neil, I think I hear you saying that really it's not about finding ourselves. It's about letting go of what isn't us and really just being present and knowing that we don't have to fix anything, which is really big. And that reminder that
Oh,
there is nothing to fix. We're not broken. We just have to let some things fall that don't serve us, that we've taken on and carried for a very long time.
yeah, it's just layers. It's just layers, Amber. It's just layers. All of my awakening, and it's a continual process. It's
It's like an onion.
I'm not stupid, right? It is. It's not stupid. This one's for you, Shrek. Yes, now present experience, ultimate form, all these beautiful, big, powerful concepts. But yes, it is going to take time. That's why I have to, myself personally, because I struggle with this, have grace, have compassion, be kind to yourself. Come on, Neil. It's okay, bud. You're all right, man. You are. You're worth it. You fucking deserve it, man. You're okay. You're a fucking beautiful, strong man. You are worth love. Every single one of us, we're worth it. It's just those fucking layers that people put in front of us and that we put in front of ourselves. It's just a shedding process. It really is a shedding process. It's like you said earlier, it's like, oh, I feel like I can breathe now. And why is that? Because we're not carrying all this stuff around anymore. We're just carrying all this fucking weight. No wonder we're in pain. No wonder we're sore. No wonder we
100%.
struggle. We're carrying the whole world. Just fucking
Yeah.
let it go. Let it go. The soul is light. The soul floats. There's nothing to carry. It's nothing to carry. It's all good. It's all good.
Well, and I love the validation you gave yourself, right? And I think that this kind of goes back to what we talked about is we're created for connection. And you were talking about needing a coach as well, is we need that validation from ourselves, but I think it's also so important when we get validation from one another, especially from like a coach or a mentor. And so I know that you offer that. Please plug away, tell the listeners what you do, where they can find you.
Oh, 100%. And I know people need a coach or a mentor, a spiritual welder, spiritual elder or initiator because I have one. I've had it my whole life. It was my father, and then it was online mentors, and then it was in-person mentors, and then now it's the master that I have now. It's a natural process, and that's why we gravitate towards it. So people, you want that elevation, you want to just bypass all of the bullshit of just trying to fix yourself, just hit me up on Instagram. It's just Neal Fisher. I mean, there's my name there. NealFisher _. You'll see my head. You'll see this red scorpion tail. Or just go to my website, theunifyingman.com.au. But just follow me on Instagram. And then even if you just want someone to talk to, even if you just want someone to share, I mean, like, fuck, I'm here. I get it. It's all good. So if you want help, I'll give it to you. And if you just want someone to talk to, fuck, let's have a chat.
I love that. Neil, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and for sharing all these nuggets with us. And I love your energy. I'm like super pumped. I'm like, okay, let's go do this life. Let's go be human and be present. I mean, we're not going to go look for the keys. We're going to slow down. We're going to breathe, right?
Yeah.
See, I always get so excited.
You already have the keys. Yeah. Hey, excited's been good, but you already have the keys. That's a beautiful thing. And I'll leave it at this. And this is what I realized is that there's nothing out there. There's nothing that can add to this. There's nothing out there that can add. I have the power. You have the power. Everybody. We all have the power. We've just forgotten it. And we just need someone to show us how to access it.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Neil.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed by myself and any guest on this podcast are solely ours and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any organizations we are affiliated with. The content provided is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as medical advice. As always, consult with a trusted healthcare professional regarding any medical conditions or concerns.